Righteous Word, good day. My name is Stefan Strek, and this is my final project for the MBA 590 course, Capstone. So today we are talking about wild boar, an untapped industry, improving worldwide sustainable ethics. Uh, my professor has been Peter Angstadt, PH.D., and he's a really solid guy. So moving on here, the report is broken into 6 main sections. Uh, the current situation with wild boar, what precedent can we follow, market potential, presentation, and a superior product, demand for environmental and corporate sustainability, worldwide impact, job opportunities, and endangered species, and in conclusion, superior products, market adaptation, and worldwide implementation. So, the current situation with wild boar. So, currently, wild boar inhabit at least 35 US states, with current populations of at least 6 million feral swine and growing in numbers. This represents a unique and untapped business opportunity. Wild boar are hunted freely as a recreational activity, which is encouraged year-round in the affected states, such as California and Texas. There are not the same restrictions of tag numbers or weapons limitations which apply to other game animals. For example, in Texas, you can rent helicopter rides where the tour company has belt-fed machine guns attached to the helicopter for tourist use. Customers can freely slaughter as many wild boar as they can aim at for targets. Now, with herds of wild boar ranging from dozens to even hundreds of feral swine, there is no requirement to use the meat, resulting in huge amounts of wasted food supplies. In a time of growing food insecurity, this is a massive, unnecessary waste of resources. Now, in California, a state which is notorious for gun control and hunting restrictions, there are no such limitations regarding the season of wild boar. Uh, any hunting, similarly, any weapon you can legally possess is allowed to be used in hunting the wild boar. Some people with ranches covering hundreds of acres even pay hunters to live on their land full time. And, it's to pursue the wild boar eradication efforts. And these hunters are still unable to make serious reductions in the wild boar population. These little guys are really proving to be a pretty tough subject. Uh, Wild boar are tough and adaptable, able to survive utilizing thick underbrush, outcompeting other hostile wildlife in any region, it seems. Even in Florida, they are making public announcements such as economically and ecologically, the hog invasion has had an overwhelmingly negative effect, says Mark Hensel, a coastal ecologist at the University of Florida's Nature Coast Biological Station. Uh, Not everyone is a fan of wild boar. It takes a little bit of an open mind to see the potential in these animals, both as a food source and potential job opportunities and economic resource. Uh, Even with the complete lack of restrictions for kill limits and absence of weapons regulations, the wild boar population across the American Southwest is exploding. Boar have excellent eyesight, smell, and evasive tactics. These traits, combined with a rapid reproduction system, mean that the boar are expanding in territory coverage faster than any coordinated effort to reduce their numbers through commercial or private recreational hunting can provide a counterbalance for. Simply put, in the war of man versus animal. This is one fight the animals are winning so far. Now, wild boar are even making advances across ocean divides, conquering the shores of Hawaii and reappearing across Western Europe. Although wild boar were hunted to extinction in the United Kingdom long ago due to intense industrialization in the 1800s and the crowded population of the English nation, wild boar have been seen spreading across the French countryside and the hills of Rome, even going so far as connecting with their ancestral homeland of Central and Eastern Europe. Now, hybridized wild boar who share the genetics of Eurasian wild boar and for farm domestic pigs, they reproduce even faster and grow larger than the regular wild boar, uh, while maintaining their aggression, intelligence, and adaptation. Uh, they seek out food from nearby human populations. They raid farmland and can survive off forest vegetation. Recently, the government of Canada has raised the alarm that wild boar are spreading across the vast open Canadian countryside, from forests and mountains to the seemingly endless tundra. The wild boar, really, they cannot be stopped. So, got to work with them. What precedent can we follow? Now, the process of adapting unused animal resources for domestic food production has been a proven business strategy through human history. Examples include how shellfish such as crab, shrimp, and lobster used to be regarded as food of the poor, until enterprising entrepreneurs began to market shellfish as a luxury food item. Today, fine dining restaurants across the world utilize shellfish as a staple for wealthy clients in most major metropolitan cities on the planet. For example, caviar was a common food until the 1700s when industrialization reduced their numbers catastrophically, creating scarcity, which increased greater demand through luxury appeal. Now, similarly, there is the story of an invasive snail, Rapana venosa, which became a nuisance in the Black Sea region. Now, the snail came into the region during the 1990s attached to boats from Japan and quickly began to outcompete local sea life. Eradication efforts proved unsuccessful up until the Black Sea fishermen started capitalizing by marketing the snail back to Japanese and Chinese restaurants. So the demand for the snail as a luxury export created intense competition from fishermen. Uh, Now, as a result, the crisis of the invading snail became a crisis about the snail being fished to extinction within the region. Uh, Now, this was going to cost the economy one of their most valuable exports. Now, the snail is sustainably harvested, and it's a staple economic resource for the region. Part three, market potential, presenting a superior product. Now, these sad little pigs. That's not right, man. It's important to establish the economic feasibility of introducing wild boar to the market as a luxury product. The main challenge to advocacy for consumption of wild boar is not from environmentalists or vegans, but from the factory farmed pork industry. The United States pork industry is spread across about 60,000 farms with about 115 million pigs slaughtered annually, creating an industry of about $20 billion and 550,000 jobs. That's a lot of capital. There's plenty for everybody. Now, market adaptation. Once again, this is just How can we judge human society if this is how we treat our food? You are what you eat. Wild boar represents a superior product, which is a threat to the multi-billion-dollar pork industry. Clearly, there is enough money to go around, and if they're not willing to welcome the competition, then an old-school market shakedown will be the inevitable result. Bacon is one of the trendiest foods in recent human history, all human history, for that fact. And bacon from wild boar represents a healthier option with a richer taste, and the feral hogs slaughtered nationwide, which are completely wasted, represent a valuable untapped resource, which only need to be recognized by enterprising individuals who care about providing a quality product. Boar bacon could be offered on fast food burgers, and boar chops sold in high-priced luxury restaurants. From the islands of Hawaii, glazed luau wild boar meat could be packaged and sold across the world as a luxury ticket item. Now, wild boar represents a natural alternative to factory farm pork products. Free roaming wild boar are an organic, sustainably sourced meat product. Boar meat has already become a trending delicacy at fine dining restaurants in the Pacific Northwest, with restaurants like Dueling Spoons, just outside Eugene, Oregon, offering wild boar as a reservation only dining option for about $100 a plate. While traditional factory farms represent abusive conditions, often full of disease, they also cause huge sludge waste runoff, which must be stored in massive open air vats, which are ecological disaster zones. These open pools of animal waste full of antibiotic runoff are a breeding ground for antibiotic resistant superbacteria. In addition, they have caused groundwater pollution, with antibiotics and hormone runoff contaminating underground water supplies across the country. This is a harm to public health of communities nearby these factory farms. People love the image of the wild boar. This is evident from the success of one of America's largest pork producers, Boar's Head, which ironically does not actually produce wild boar meat. Simply using the image has been enough to let them dominate the deli meat market and even expanding to cheese. However, the factory farmed pork industry recently had a major setback. A listeria outbreak at Boar's Head slaughterhouses caused several deaths, resulting in their factory pork products being removed from many stores nationwide. Uh, if there ever was a time to promote the ethical adoption of wild boar, now is the time. Factory farmed meats are a point where their toxic effects, the impact on animals, the environment, and nearby communities, we really can do so much better. Now, worldwide impact, job opportunities, and saving endangered species. We can make a difference. Now, the question remains, who is to hunt the wild boar? American hunters lack the persistence so far, with wild boar spreading not just across the United States, but across the oceans. Again, we have the opportunity to utilize an overlooked source of labor. Traditional tribal cultures across South America, South Africa, and Southeast Asia. These populations of experienced hunters with intergenerational skills. Uh, Now, they're often disadvantaged and live in abject poverty, making them targets for employment by the poaching industry. The poaching industry is widespread and active across the underdeveloped world. Priceless animals are hunted using the poor as a weapon against the underdeveloped land they live on. Now, using wealthy criminal financing to kill the jaguar or endangered snakes in South America, rhino in South Africa are currently being poached as well, with over 100 hunted in 2025. So far, despite strict protection. Another example is the pangolin, tigers, and elephants. These are also hunted in Southeast Asia. Now, many people don't understand that the villagers hunting these animals in the bush country, they're often getting $100, $50 or less for killing an endangered animal. It is the independent criminal enterprise who makes all the profit off of this illicit trade. Now, these are widespread crimes against nature taking place due to the lack of opportunities in these regions. International cartels who sell endangered poached animals to private purchasers are a worldwide threat to endangered species that we've all grown to know and love. Now, it's heartbreaking to think of how many times the last animal of an endangered species has fallen, hunted to extinction for a bounty as small as $50 or $100 in today's modern currency, but often for less. This is an active industry which operates across international borders at this very moment. We can take action against these illicit business operations by offering employment opportunities to disadvantaged tribal communities who would otherwise be targeted by this industry. We can get them work visas to come to America and hunt the wild boar to solve this problem that we've got and contribute to our economy. Now, what's it really worth to end poaching? Impoverished communities in the undeveloped world are targets for international salesmen of poached animals. Now, the local villagers, lacking education or employment opportunities, are victimized just the same as the animals they are contracted to hunt. We can poach against these criminal enterprises by securing safe and consistent job opportunities to help raise these people out of poverty while helping to protect America and keep our environment safe and our plant life and the delicate ecosystems, for example, in Hawaii or Southern California. And really we can use capitalism to provide an ethical solution to a problem that's gotten out of control for too long and really causing some serious karmic harm to our society. In conclusion, superior products, market adaptation, and worldwide implementation. Now, with the offer of fair wages, it's an opportunity to utilize a wasted resource of boar meat throughout the United States, Hawaii, Canada, and Western Europe, while protecting both endangered animals in the third world and adapting to fill a gap in the modern resource harvesting system. Gaps left open by the inefficiencies and waste of modern factory farms. We can also end the abuse of the animals, which are so mistreated across this industry at those factory farms. We can help clean up the groundwater and reduce the amount of antibiotics and hormones that go into the water that the rest of us drink every single day. This is a positive change that society really needs. Honestly, I don't think this is an option. It is a necessary action that must be taken. It's just a question of who's going to take action. and profit off this situation. Now, while growing demand for healthy, organic, sustainably harvested wild boar meat, we can generate health improvements across the world in both developed and developing communities. We can work to end hunger, which is the result of waste across the world. Supplying a healthier form of bacon and using modern advertising techniques to market American wild boar across the Asian continent. We can even sell wild boar to the English. I mean, they literally hunted it to extinction in their island. So it seems like the market is out there. There is money to be made. There are clients that are waiting for this business. So this is a priceless opportunity to fight worldwide hunger and poverty, reduce environmental pollution, close abusive factory farms, and prevent poaching of endangered animals, and all with an ethical, for-profit business model, selling a superior product. Plenty of sources to reference. Definitely, there is more than enough evidence to back up all of the claims in this presentation. Thank you. Wild boar, an untapped industry, improving worldwide sustainable ethics. By me, Stefan Strek, for the 590 Capstone Project, MBA. My professor, Peter Angstadt, PhD, solid guy. Thank you so much for the privilege of being in this class. And if you would like to support related urban lifestyle clothing, please visit myskateboard.com and buy some merchandise. A happy little wild boar here. There's also hoodies and stickers, art that I made myself. Once again, thank you, and I look forward to progress in this industry.